Oh, we are live. I probably should have posted that this was gonna. Oh, now we're live. I probably should have posted that this was gonna happen. I posted yesterday that I was hoping to do so today, but I didn't tweet about it or anything because I'm a professional. So we'll give it a little bit for people to pop on. I don't know what people are up to on a Saturday, but whatever you're up to, however your day is going, go ahead and drop a comment in the live chat, and let's get a conversation going. I have no plan or agenda for today. All I've got is a lot of books, a little bit of free time, and a reason to celebrate because there are 30,000 subscribers on this channel, which is just incredible to consider. Doisters, hello. Hello back to the Philippines. Welcome. Thanks for being the first one on. That's really, really exciting. I'm going to open my window a little bit more because it's cooling down, but it is warm in here because I turned the heat on for my building. So I'm going to pretend that's going to make a difference. Maybe I'll take this jacket off. But go ahead and drop a comment if you want to talk about a particular thing. If you have any questions, there's a book you want me to read a chapter from, have at it. Let's just hang out. I don't really have an agenda. I've got a piano next to me. It's actually not a piano. It's a keyboard. I am not in New York. I'm in Philadelphia, so I'm just south of New York. Hi back to Cal. Cal, so good. I was just talking about my books. You see them right here. I got the Stormlight Archive, for whom Kaladin is named, right there on the fantasy shelf. So I'm a loyalist here. Hi, just Jenny. I want to go to New Mexico so badly. I want to hike out there. I've never been. Dearborn, Michigan. I've been to Dearborn, Nana. I spent a lot of time in Michigan. It's a good place. Hi, Lissa. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for being one of that 30,000. That's incredible. That's the fun part of having your window open is you get to hear all the people driving by. I updated my phone and it's like I got the iOS 16 and it's really throwing me off all day. If anybody has any questions or anything you want to talk about, feel free to drop it in. Crave Trance, I should let you know that Crave Trance, someone asked me last time, I think it was on a live, but it might have been in a comment now that I think about it, on a previous video. They asked me who my favorite character in Stormlight Archive is. And I don't know if I've told you, but it is. I've decided it's Kaladin. I just think he's too great of a character. I just think he's too interesting. I love Shallan. Obviously, Adolin is like who I want to play. Like, I think he's great, but can't wait for the next book. Rodzilla5332. You did catch a live. Welcome to Nakardoches. I probably butchered that, but welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Hello, Aaron. Welcome to you as well. If anybody has any questions or anything they want to talk about, feel free to drop comments. I was out on a walk this morning because it's a beautiful day here in my neighborhood in Philadelphia, and there was a garage sale, and I because I'm an adult, I bought a deck of Pokemon cards off of a kid. He had a number he was going to sell them for, which was probably a fair number, and then he decided to sell them for he offered me $3, and I was like, no. So I gave him $8. But they're all water type cards. So that's fun because I used to have, I never played the game, but I had the cards as a kid. So I thought, well, I'm gonna give this kid a little more money than he wants, and I'm gonna walk away with some Pokemon cards. So that's fun. Delia Connie, welcome. Thank you. Yes, many things to celebrate. The Pokemon cards being high on that list. Thank you, Ring Wraith. You're always here to support it. As an adult, yes, Lissa, yes. I have come to appreciate, like, when I got this Black Panther action figure at Goodwill. It's like, hey, I want to like hold on to these things that I loved as a kid because I think that the world wants to beat that stuff out of you. And like, no, I love it. Like, some of the people on this chat that have known me in like real life that I've hung out with are like, yeah, no, I'm very much a person that like I am an adult, but I want to hold on to those things that I loved as a kid, which is why I have Pikachu and those are my childhood lightsabers up there and bobbleheads and stuff. Like that's, it's stuff that I loved as a kid. Uh, do I have So Yang? Yes, I do, Rodzilla. I promise I do. It is hard to keep up with everyone's recommendations, and I'm sorry that I have not gotten back to So Yang in a bit, but I will get back to her soon because she is so good. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes. What would Kaladin do in this situation? Because he's almost always going to choose kindness, um, even when he doesn't choose kindness. It's usually something that he like actively regrets. I meant to get myself coffee. Doisters, I do have formal voice training. I probably have less formal voice training than most musical theater professionals, but I've had some really really wonderful teachers in my time that just have helped me kind of figure out how to utilize my voice. And certainly when I have big auditions coming up, some Broadway stuff that I've auditioned for, Broadway tours, then I usually reach out to a couple of coaches that I know and just sort of work on things. And like the last musical I did, Pippin, the director, Mark Deaton, is a wonderful vocal coach himself and vocal teacher. So when I was playing Pippin, he certainly helped. So instead of like to get the tone he wanted, like on Corner of the Sky, I was trying to sing very straight tone, which is just how I always saw Pippin, as being this sort of gotta find my corner of the sky, like very straight. And then he wanted this more classical sound. So he helped work with me to get gotta find my corner of the sky, to get that kind of vibrato and warm tone into it. So yeah, I've been very fortunate to get to know some incredible coaches that have pushed me and helped educate me on my voice, and certainly it's still a lot of work to go, but I'm glad for where I've been, and to get to meet people like Crave Trance, who I met when I was doing Sunset Boulevard, which is fun, and I want to get back out there and do some more hiking because man, Eastern Washington is gorgeous. Lisa, yes, I went to the BT21 store in New York, and it was so hard to not buy everything. They're very, very cute. Filippo, hello, welcome, welcome, welcome. Angela, thank you so much. Hello to Antone45. Hello back to France. Bonjour. Thank you, Rainier. Thank you, thank you. And thank you, Alina. Thank you all for being here. If anybody has any questions or anything you want to talk about, any book collections, I almost bought a few books today. There's a new bookstore in my neighborhood, and I'm very, very excited about it. So I almost bought a book of Emily Dickinson poetry, along with a bunch of other things, and I didn't buy them, but I almost did. And that's the story of my life. If I walk away having only almost bought something, that's probably a win. Lissa, yes, my goodness. I sing, dance, write, direct. I cannot draw to save my life. We have a cousin game night with all my cousins and siblings on my dad's side. Like all the cousins will get together on Zoom most Mondays, and we play some drawing games. And I'm okay if I like have a reference thing to sketch off of, but me, myself, and we are terrible artists. Yes, okay, I'll show you my favorite thing that I ever drew here in a sec. Angela, I'm not big on Marvel or Star Wars TV, not because it's not good. So if Disney's watching this, it's not because you aren't making good stuff. I just want it to feel like an event, and yet I always end up watching it and enjoying it. So Werewolf by Night, I was like, probably I'll watch it. And now I'm definitely going to now because of the trailer. It just looks so good. So, I'm just here for good stuff. Yes, Rodzilla, that is a huge aspect of it. So instead of having to push, if I was just I can push that, but like you can hear that so much more power because a lot of it's pushing up from the diaphragm. So it does help project. And a lot of the times I'm doing shows with no mics or with mics, but what if they fall off? Which, for example, during Pippin, I'm a very sweaty person, and so my mic would fall off a lot, and I had to project over the live band. Oh, Delia, that's okay. I hope your dinner's going to be delicious. I made a lot of dinner this week. No, Doisters, that is interesting. So my eyes are an interesting part because I do get a lot of work off them because eyes are the window to the soul. So it's super important for acting that you have interesting eyes and you know how to use them. But my eyes kind of change color depending on what I'm wearing. So if you go look through my videos, sometimes my eyes will look green, sometimes they'll look blue, sometimes they'll look in between. So we've had the issues in movies where they can't put me in blue and green in the same movie, or they'll have to specifically go in the color grade and make sure that my eyes look the same throughout the movie because they look different depending on what I'm wearing. And you don't want the subtext of like in a sci-fi film, if a character's eyes change color throughout, we don't trust him. So just something interesting that we have to be careful of. But I want to go back up to who was it that to Lisa. I want to show you something that I drew once because this was not freehand. This was a sketch, but it's probably my proudest artwork, or the artwork that I'm most proud of, rather. And it's this drawing I did of Paddington Bear. I love him. I'm very, very proud of this drawing. Yes, Angela, you're so right. Like, more composers need to be directing because I have found that directors, so like the next movie I'm shooting, the director came into it as an editor. And so he's got a particular way of directing that comes from his eye for editing. I got into directing as an actor. So I have a particular way of directing that clearly comes from my background as an actor versus my friends that got into directing off being a grip or a DP that are very visual versus those who were screenwriters and became directors. That background has a huge impact on the visual language that they use as directors. Yes, Sarah, welcome. Antone, I'm going to Google Translate your comment real quick so that I know what you said. I know sometimes you guys might read my comments and be like, how many languages does he speak? 1.5. I have seen some French films. Yes, ironic that I had to translate that. I'm about to watch one, I think like next week, I'm probably going to watch it. And the name is Divines, I think is what it's called. It's on Netflix. I've seen Amelie, which I loved. I've seen, I forget how to say it in French, but My Life as a Zucchini is a beautiful, beautiful animated film that I loved. Joyce, hello, back to Arizona, where I also want to go hiking, and I hopefully will this winter. I think I'm going to get out there in the winter of this year. Marta, hello, back to Portugal. Ruth, welcome, greetings. Christina, yes, I have reacted to Dimash's Story of One Sky. It's on my channel. You can check that out. I'm going to have a second video coming out where I analyze it further, and I'll probably have some special messages in that from some people, which is exciting. Thank you, Lisa and Ring Wraith. I'm so proud of it. I can't lie to you guys. The whole thing with my drawing style was SETI. I owe a shout out to my twin sister, Salone, who I'm hoping may be joining me for a video soon. So SETI, here's the trick to drawing SETI if you ever want to make your own SETI. Here's how oh, you got the screenshot. Maybe I will do that. So let's take this. This is a piece of paper that I had for an audition. You have to hold it up. It's an envelope. So to make SETI, what you do is you do the letter B. All right. Oh, sorry, it's kind of blown out there. So you do B, and then you do another circle, O. All right. And then Y. You just write boy. Okay. And then you connect the Y to the B and this part of the Y up here. And then you connect like that. And then fill in the eyes. Give him a little nose and a big old smile. And you got yourself your own custom SETI. So that's how you do it. I'm very proud of him, and I love him very, very much. Yes, Alyssa, I learned to do it from my twin sister in elementary school, and that is when I stopped improving as an artist, was elementary school. That's when that happened. I used to give mine glasses as well. That's absolutely true. Doisters, the novel play that probably reflects our current state of today. Do you want my hopeful take or my non-hopeful take? From a cynicism standpoint, it's definitely 1984 would be the novel. The play, I mean, there is a 1984 play. I mean, Macbeth kind of rings a bell, doesn't it? Yeah, I think I also get some action in my mind from King Lear of just this like I want to listen not to the Reagans and Gonerills of the world. Like I want to listen to the hopeful voices that like see where we're going. The Tempest, yeah, I wouldn't mind escaping to a little magical island for a while. That could be kind of fun. Brian, I hope he comes back soon. I would love to get over to London. I'm hoping to do so this fall or winter, and shoot some films while I'm over there. MK Hazen, thank you so much, and thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. Christina, thank you. I'm very proud of my Paddington. I cannot draw Crave Trance. I'm terrible at art. Those are all sketches. Oh no, I didn't know that, Ring Wraith. That's so exciting. I saw Hamilton in previews when it was on Broadway. I saw it before it opened and loved it, and then saw it about a year later and got to go backstage and met the whole cast and crew, and it was just an extraordinary experience. And I saw it on tour as well, and I have a couple friends in different tours across the country now, and it's just such an incredible show. Yes, Doysters, I have a twin sister. She and my older sister both joined me for a BTS reaction probably over a year ago now, it was when Butter came out, because we did, was it Butter? I think it was Butter, because we did a reaction to Black Swan because she has a degree in dance, and my older sister is a seamstress, so they talked about costuming and choreography. And then Salone, my twin sister, taught everybody a dance to BTS, and we had so much fun. It was such a good time. Elena, well, thank you so much for still watching my videos. That means so much to me. I have such a great community here, and I'm glad that I can provide something to my viewers, and hope that that continues, and that people are still learning from my videos. What kind of paint do I prefer? Antone, that's an interesting question. I enjoy art. I wouldn't call myself like a connoisseur of art. I don't think educated enough for that. So like I enjoy watercolor, I think in particular, I think is really cool. If you're asking like my favorite artist, like I love Dali. But I can't like speak in an educated way about art, about movements or styles or whatever. I just enjoy it and appreciate it. That's something I need to work on. I live here in Philly. Like I should go to the Philly Museum of Art. I've never been. We'll look for it later. I guess you would. Yes. Yeah, no, I loved it, Christina. I loved the story of One Sky, and I can't wait to do a further analysis. And I just want to talk about color palettes more, and camera usage, and storytelling technique, and really kind of dig into that. Brian, yeah, Sunset Boulevard was really, really great. And I'm up to do the show again, actually, to Crave Trance, who was there when I did it. I'm up to do the show at a different theater here on the East Coast, and would love to do it again, because it's just such a good show. And when I did Sunset Boulevard last year at the Regional Theater, the Palouse in Pullman, Washington, it was just such a good cast. I mean, everybody was just so good. It was such a fun show, and gorgeous music. Such gorgeous music. A Ladybug 42, any book recommendations? I sure do. What are you looking for? What genre? Is it fantasy? Because I've got a lot. But my top book recommendation always is Station 11. It's my favorite novel. I love Station 11. If you like it, get the sequel, The Glass Hotel, which is super different but still wonderful. And then get the third book, The Sea of Tranquility, which is also great. Emily St. John Mandel is my favorite author. I love her work. I think her capacity for language and understanding human nature, and for conveying that in a way that's compelling and driving, but still so quiet and introspective. I just think she is magnificent. I think she's so good. So those three books, and Sea of Tranquility just came out. I love them. Love them. Love them, love them, love them. Yes, Madison Merlanti. was our Norma Desmond, and is just one of the most I don't even know how to put it in words. Just like from the first moment that we started rehearsing together, I was like, okay, like I'm excited that we get to push each other, because there's sometimes where you just step on stage with someone, you go, okay, no, we're going to create something here. Like we are going to bounce off of each other and keep pushing this and taking it in new directions. And Madison's just a magnificent actress, and getting to perform opposite her was I mean, it was such a blessing. Like she's so good. And I don't say it because I don't think she ever watches my YouTube videos. So I'm not saying that to like pump her up. Like she's really good, and all of you will probably know her name someday because she's a star. Which do I like doing better, acting or directing? Well, when I'm acting, I really like directing, and when I'm directing, I really like acting. I like acting because I'm not in charge of things and I just get to create, and then I like directing because I am in charge of things. So there's a balance to be found, but I love both. I love getting to do both, and I'm certainly better at acting. But I think what excites me is like I know what I am as an actor, and I know, you know, what I can do, and I know where I'm at with that and where I can go. With directing, I don't know where I can go with it. And I think that's what excites me, is there's still so much for me to explore there as a director. And like it sort of just feels like this great unexplored wilderness that excites me. And so that's really, really great. Ring Wraith. Yes, I absolutely would come to do a show in Texas. I am up for a few things in Texas right now. 2 plays, a musical, and 2 movies. So hopefully that works out. I would definitely come. I do a simple well, that works, Christina. There you go. Yes, Madison is really, really terrific. I'm trying to remember. While I was doing Sunset Boulevard, I reread the Chronicles of Narnia, and I would recommend anybody do that. I, as a person of faith, it kind of rekindled a lot of things that I think maybe I had kind of pushed to the back burner in my faith, rereading Chronicles of Narnia. And I think even if you're not a person of faith, like Narnia is just so lovely. So I highly recommend Narnia, especially in our cynical times. It's such a breath of fresh air. What else would I recommend? Depending on what you're into, if you want it, I've talked about this before, but if you want a very different type of fantasy, the Thessaly trilogy by Joe Walton, this book right here, is a really, really interesting, unique take on fantasy world building from a philosophical standpoint. So they try to build Plato's Republic and see how it actually works out in a practical world. So that's a super cool take on it. The BTS notes, those are always good if you like BTS. Obviously, this is my favorite fantasy series, The Kingkiller Chronicles by Patrick Rothfuss. I hope he finishes them. I know I've talked about all these before, but I'm reading The Martian right now, which I know I'm way behind. If you like Shakespeare, Stephen Greenblatt's Tyrant is an exceptional work on how he wrote politics into how Shakespeare wrote politics into his plays, and what we can do with that in our modern world. So that's super cool. What else do I have in here? I'm reading The Wheel of Time, which I know Crave Trance is probably excited about. I just finished book 4, so I'm doing a book and then reading something else, and then a book and then reading something else. What was I about to talk about, though? What was it? I don't know. Oh, I was gonna get into Narnia here. Did you like that little frustrated dance? There's something, yeah, Horse and His Boy. So when I was reading these, there was something about like Aslan makes you cry. Like, yes, Aslan makes me cry. And it's not just Aslan. Sometimes it's the little things that are said. Or the voice, which is Aslan in The Horse and His Boy, which has quietly become one of my favorite Narnia books, says, I am telling you your story, not hers. I tell no one any story but his own. And like that idea is just so, I don't know, so like lovely to me. Like even that idea just gives me chills. I'm trying to find. There's a quote from Edmund after Rapidash the Ridiculous. No, that's Prince Caspian. Maybe I went too far. I can see King Edmund. That's the battle scene. Let's see. Let me go back to. I missed a bunch of comments. Yes, the Rothfuss. I keep waiting, but like I have faith because those first two books were just so good. Have I ever used my actor's experience or knowledge in real life to gain something by playing the person who you are not, just for some benefits? Yeah, I use British accents a lot because people are nicer to you when you use a British accent. So I definitely do that when I'm just like out and about, and it's a good way to practice it. But no, I don't. I like to think that just like who I am tends to make a good impression. I guess as far as like as an actor, you try to respond to things in the moment. So I guess if I recognize someone's interests, I try to like connect with that pretty quickly. So if they're not interested in football, I don't talk about football. But if they are, then I definitely do. Joyce, what is the framed metal in the background? I have a framed metal in the background. I'm sure that I suppose I do. Let me look at the screen. Oh, I guess the medal right here, this one, Joyce, is that what you're talking about? This is an award that I got for playing Link Larkin in the musical Hairspray. I won the Merit in Acting Award for that. And then this is actually something that I got from Kevin Kiefer in Sunset Boulevard, just for like, he gave them to the cast, and I thought it was very, very sweet. So I kept it. I might have enjoyed that dance a little too much. Fair enough. Even if there isn't an Narnia, I want to live as if there is one. Whoa. Ooh, hit me in the throat with that one. I really want to find this wonderful quote from so the prince, that's the Tisroc, because he's with all the kings and queens. So it's before the tombs. I know I'm probably wasting so much time right now. I don't know what it is, but it's something about where Edmund Shasta basically says like I betrayed everyone that I loved or something, like I'm a traitor. And Edmund goes, I knew a traitor once, and there is, that is not a life sentence or something like that. Like it was just this beautiful idea of like passing on the forgiveness that one has received. I don't know. It just, maybe it was the last battle. It might have been in that. I don't know. But yes, I think every book has its own like just its own beauty to it and its own personality. I love Narnia so much. Doisters, I think dealt with like wondering how legit a person is, and certainly like given the work that I have and the career that I've had, wondering like, do they have an ulterior motive for getting to know me or for being nice to me? But then I'm like, well, I don't want to live my life just like suspecting people of that. So I just choose to believe that they're being good. Yeah, Brian, if you want to hear the British accent, it's something that I work on a lot with I have some vocal coaches over there that sort of, and I'm right now I'm sort of reworking my accent for an audition that I've got going on where I've got to go more Cockney with it, which I've never had to do. I sort of learned mine specifically from Daniel Radcliffe in Harry Potter and then sort of adapted it for myself. And so when I play British characters, I sort of use this as the foundation of it, and then sort of specify if they're a little bit more, if they grew up in the north or if they grew up in London, if they lean more RP or if they're, whatever it is, sort of, do I have to put a little bit of something Irish in it or something to that effect? How do I sort of build that into the accent that I naturally have? Because you have to have a foundation for the accent and then build on top of it. So that's a big aspect of how I choose to approach it. And I certainly am grateful to to my dialect coaches that help me work on it and bring that to the forefront. Let me see. I hate this new way that I hate the new iOS. That's what I'm trying to say. Anyway, so that's the accent. It's your stream. That's fair. That's fair. And you guys are all choosing to be here. MK Hasan, my dream role that I want to play so badly. I think it's there. Who am I? No, that's the wrong key. Stars in your multitude. No, stars in your multitude. Scarce to be counted. Filling the darkness with order and light. Les Mis, like half the roles in Les Mis, but Jean Valjean, dream role. God on high, hear my prayer. Dream role. Dream. Yes, Angela, even the traitor may mend. I know one that did. Oh, that gives me chills even now. It's just, it's by the window. Unless if you're talking about this is actually something that a friend gave me where it says, you are perfectly cast in your life. I can't imagine anyone but you in the role. Go play. And it was a wonderful gift from a friend. That by the lamp. Yes, by the lamp. That is actually a medal for the Delta Alpha Nu fraternity, which is the fraternity of people who did a play for Dr. Dan Heaton at Capital University. He welcomes you into his family, and he's a wonderful professor. And I'm extremely grateful to him. And I've even told him that I was not grateful enough to him while I was in undergrad because he taught me just so very much. Antonia, what's my favorite film scores? Well, The Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe is up there. Anything by John Williams is going to be pretty extraordinary. I've become, over the last 2 years, Thomas Newman has just blown up in my life, and his Finding Nemo score in particular has really, I love so many film scores. It's really hard to pick anything out in particular. News of the World had a really good film score. That may be my favorite one from the last few years. Little Women had a great score. I love films. I have a playlist of like 60, 70 hours of film scores. Also, then my favorite of the last month or so has been Pearl, which I haven't seen yet and I need to, but the score is just so good. We got Fuyuno Ching Sung. I'm so sorry if I mispronounced your name, but it is very true, said Edmund. But even Trader may mend. I have known one that did, and he looked very thoughtful. Beautiful. So good. Hi, Andrew. Welcome. You're not late. You're right on time. Karen, that's fair. Life is quite an exciting movie. I watch movies to escape from life. And sometimes I'll watch a movie going, this looks nice. And then I'm like sobbing on my couch going like, why didn't I know how, tough this movie was going to be? So that's a nice challenge. I'm very, very, give me one sec. I had to take off my jacket. It's getting very warm. One man lame is, where is everyone? Where everyone is Cedric. That's right. That would be very hard to do like the duel. Look down, Javert. No, look down, Javert. I don't know what it is. We see each other plain. Monsieur le Maire, you wear a different shade. Yeah, that would be too hard. I don't think I could do it. Christina, I cannot do a Welsh accent. That's something I should work on for sure. My DNA test results updated and I found out that I have Welsh in me. So I should probably learn that. I'm also much more Scottish than I thought. I would love to see Man of La Mancha. I think that's a musical that could get in a movie. Yes, Doisters. Actually, I'm prepping for a movie in November where I speak German, and thankfully I speak some German. But it's a huge challenge because just like learning with an accent, so like right now I'm learning to play the drum set for a movie, which is why you see the drumsticks and practice pad back here. So I'm learning to play the drum set for a movie, which is a pretty big challenge. And so it's just like learning a language, right? It's not just learning the technical aspects of the language or of playing the drum set, being able to keep the beat, know which hits are on the hi-hat, how to play the bass drum. Like with German, not just knowing how vowels are approached, how an umlaut changes from an to an it's also now I have to build in the character to this. So it's not just how do I speak this language, it's how does this character speak this language? How would they approach it? So it's not just, typically Germans would emphasize this part of a word instead of this part of a word. It's they would do this, but then this character might do this in addition to that. And so that's a huge challenge that I really, really enjoy. I think I missed a comment earlier. Yes, Kevin. Well, if no one else took theirs, then I'll keep all of them because Kevin is one of the nicest people I've ever met, and I really enjoyed working with Kevin so much. Hello, Maria, welcome, and hello, Annalyn, welcome. Silvana, welcome. Movies versus acting on stage, which one do I like better? I love both. When I'm on stage, I get excited to go back to film, and when I'm doing film, I get excited to go back to stage. So I'm shooting I'm shooting a movie, and then an episode of a series, and then a movie. And I'm hoping, if an audition I have later today goes well, that I will then be returning to stage. And then hopefully getting back to movies in the spring. And then I haven't announced it yet, but I am doing some stage stuff in the spring that's very different than the stage stuff I've done for the last few years. And so hopefully I'll be able to say more about that soon. But I really like being able to go back and forth. I love both, and they're both such different challenges that I'm grateful that I have opportunities to do both. So that's always exciting. Andrew, I'm so glad to hear that because there's so many good movies out there. And it's not, I love kind of the big blockbuster movies that we all know, but I think there's so many wonderful indie films. I just saw the film Girl, which is a Dutch film about a teenage trans ballet dancer. And it was so moving and such a beautifully done film and so challenging just as a viewer to watch it and to have to live in this space. And it's I think that's the best thing that art can do is push us to these new places. And that's why I also think escapist stuff also has it's perfectly valid to make something to entertain and then to also make something that pushes boundaries. And I think it's tough when people try to pick out what the best movie is of all time. Why do we have to put Ingmar Bergman's Through a Glass Darkly up against Avengers Infinity War? Those are so different, and that's what I love is there's so much out there to learn from and to experience. So Bergman's Through a Glass Darkly, every single frame of that movie is a painting. If you pause it, it's a painting and it's gorgeous and the lighting is haunting. And you can draw a direct line from Bergman's Through a Glass Darkly to something like Joel Cohen's, was it Ethan? I think it was Joel. The Tragedy of Macbeth, which was also black and white, but came out last year. You can see where the Tragedy of Macbeth learned from Through a Glass Darkly, and then also that's what I love about it is there's a direct correlation from what came before to what we have now. To watch Leon the Professional or Taxi Driver, to watch these noir films, these gangster violent films that have led to where we are now, and how carefully they're framed and the careful character work of that. To watch De Niro become a star and see how he changed acting forever. To watch Marlon Brando in Streetcar Named Desire and see, oh my God, this is how the foundations of where we are today as actors. He changed so much because of the physical nature of his performance. I think it's just extraordinary. Fiona Ching-sung, I'm so glad I got it right. That's exciting. What kinds of roles would I ever refuse to take? I don't take roles in things that I find offensive. So if I read the script and I go, I don't think that this is saying something that I would be interested in promoting, I don't take it. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't take characters that I disagree with. It means if I think the message of the film runs in contrast with something that I hold dear as a belief, well, then I don't take it. I don't. There are obviously things that I am not willing to do. I used to not swear. I do more swearing in films now just because it's the character swearing. It's not me, and real people do swear. And I try to not swear very much in my actual life, but I've drawn less of a distinction on that. But I think the swearing has to be justified for me to want to do it. I think a lot of writers can be very overindulgent in their swearing. I don't do, adult scenes, none of that. So, I draw lines in places, but for the most part, it's about the artistic integrity of really most things. Like if there's a lot of violence in a script and it doesn't seem justified, well, then I don't necessarily want to do that, if that makes sense. Ringwraith, I've never seen any musicals in German. I really, really should. Lord of the Rings remake, Doisters, I really appreciate that, but I also think Lord of the Rings is just so perfect that I never want it to be remade. So it would be really, really, really lovely. But I'd love to be in Rings of Power. That would be really great. I would be thrilled with that. Oh, Edgar, thank you so much. Wow, thank you. I'll get a cup of coffee next week, right on you. Thank you so much. That's really, really nice of you. Melissa, thank you. Back to Albuquerque. Somebody else here is from New Mexico. Was that you? Somebody mentioned that they were from New Mexico. Do you guys know each other? New Mexico is a small state, right? Where is it? It's way back. Oh, that was the beginning. Somebody else. Maybe it was you. I don't know if I'm going to be out to New Mexico. I know I'm up for some things in like Joshua Tree and some other areas, but I'd love to get out there. I just want to hike. Like it's such a beautiful place that I've never been to. The last foreign film in any country that you've seen would have been Girl, the Danish or the Dutch film that I just watched 2 days ago. And then there was, I watched The Hand of God recently, the Italian film that was up for Best International Feature. I'm going to go see Korea's submission for Best International Feature for this year. What else have I watched? Pan's Labyrinth, I think, is one of the top 5 perfect films ever made. I watched a good amount of foreign films. I watched, what's that called? What is it called? I think it was Norwegian film. This is going to be a weird thing to Google. Dreams About Deer Slaughterhouse movie. On Body and Soul. That's it. On Body and Soul. I watched that recently. I think it's Norwegian, Hungarian. That was a fascinating film. So I watched that recently. I just watched, gosh, I'm blanking on the title of it. Nobody Knows I'm Here, which I think is Spanish. And then I watched a Mexican film recently as well. That the name is escaping me of that one. That was a beautiful, beautiful and sad film. So I try to watch a lot of foreign films. I think it's really, like with BTS, one of the things I love about their music videos is they shoot things in certain ways that we wouldn't necessarily shoot them in America, certain shot structures or editing structures that excites me and kind of educates me. Artistry versus activism. I don't think that one has to be more important. I guess my answer would be artistry, because I think I don't necessarily want my art to have a function, I guess, if that makes sense, which draws the line like what is art and what is a tool. But I think artistry can have activism. Activism can have art. They aren't mutually exclusive. But I also think both can exist without the other as well, if that makes sense. So I think everything should be like, if it's, I think there are movies made for activism, and I think that that's good. As long as I think it's artistically done, it excites me. So that, I hope that's my answer. Gems, welcome. I'll work on the Welsh accent. It would be great to play Richard Burton. That would be really fun. Kenneth, what are my biggest goals and dreams? Well, I think Michael Caine said something really important where he said, I don't recommend being a celebrity at all, but I do highly recommend being a movie star. So I think I would love that, just to be able to continue acting and writing and directing and making these things for the rest of my life full time. And I'm grateful to get to do that. And it's a hard life. So I think making a little bit more money than I do now and continuing to work on bigger projects. But I do have it as a goal that if I ever were to become, let's say Marvel cast me in something, and Marvel, if you're watching, You can find out how to contact me. Have Kevin call me. But I would still want to do indie films. I'd still want to do the low budget things because, like on my first movie, Kadia the World Within, you can see the poster right there. James Phelps, who played Fred Weasley in the Harry Potter films, and Corbin Burnson, who I grew up loving as an actor in Psych, Major League, and LA Law. They both agreed to do my film, even though I was a young filmmaker. They took a risk on working with me. And so I want to be able to do that for people in turn if I'm ever at that level. So I think that would be a really big key for me. Natalia, what do I think about his latest song, Story of One Sky? I think that is the perfect balance of artistry and activism. I think he is using his voice to talk about something that is extremely important to him and leaving it open to interpretation while also not sacrificing the integrity of his intended message. And that is just something that is so powerful to me. I think if you look at Star Wars, the original Star Wars trilogy, as being a film about anti-imperialism and about the importance of the hero's journey. There's theology in it. It balances this need to say something about the world with the need to entertain. And I think that that's wonderful. And I think when films can do that, that's when we're functioning at this really high level and when I love them the most. I think about Parasite from Bong Joon-ho or Pan's Labyrinth and Guillermo del Toro's upcoming Pinocchio film, which takes Pinocchio and is going to be entertaining and has a wonderful cast and looks gorgeous, but talks about the rise of fascism across the world right now. That's beautiful to me, and I think that that's wonderful. And that's what Dimash did. He made a film about fascism and violence and war and didn't sacrifice the art of it in doing so, and I think that that's wonderful. Christina Valjean is my dream role. Most of my dream roles are in theater because I don't know, if movies are going to be made. If they ever remake Great Gatsby, I would love to play Jay Gatsby. I know I'm 10, 15 years from doing so. I really want, when I played Robert Kennedy earlier this year, I really want to do a tour of that. And that's a conversation that's happening. And certainly there's another thing that's a balance of art and activism, because what Robert Kennedy talked about, a lot of that we still haven't really achieved as a country here in the United States. Plus just finding the Kennedy accent was a challenge, and it's been a bit since I've done it, but certainly a hard accent to find. But that would be another thing I'd love to do. I'd love to do a biopic of him and just kind of using his words to address where we are as a country now. So I don't know if that helps answer. Doyster's Fantasy is my favorite. Oh my gosh, Fiona, thank you so much. I'm sorry I didn't see that. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for that. That means so much to me. Thank you. Wow. That's really nice of you. I'm spending next week with some family, and I'm going to go see some friends in a musical in Ohio, and thank you for helping pay for that to happen. So thank you for doing that. Fantasy is probably my favorite genre, but I think all genre, like I try really hard to really keep up with all genres. So horror has some really cool things, and I think horror is the best genre to really take a chance and say something, and that's exciting. I love dramas. I love indie, independent, intimate dramas. I love them so much. I think war films are really cool. 1917 is one of the coolest films I've ever seen. I've really gotten into mysteries lately, probably because of Rian Johnson's Knives Out, which I watched with Crave Trance, who's on here dropping some comments. Josephine, my pleasure. Morissette is really, really incredible. Marlene, welcome. Thank you. Hello back to Costa Rica. Yes, Aiden, that is on my list. That is on my list of things to check out soon. Oh, Ball, thank you so much for watching the trailer. There's some new stuff coming out soon. The Coroner's Assistant is going to be coming out soon for all of you who want to see that. And I'm going to be shooting some movies over the next month and a half or so that hopefully trailers will be out soon. There's some other things coming out soon that I'm excited to share with all of you. Becky, yes. Yeah, if you're saying like the character is usually an antagonist, if it's not something that I agree with, yes. I think that that's important to do, is to put myself in someone else's shoes, even someone who's like a monster, who I would find to be a terrible, awful person in real life. To have to justify their actions, I think, expands my own sense of humanity, I guess, in that sense. So I've played some truly terrible people, and it is hard. There was one role I played, it was in a play, and I had to I had to take a shower after every show because I just felt so gross. just like having done it, like I needed the sense of being cleansed after every performance. But I think the show was saying important things, and because I portrayed that character as a human and not like just this, one-dimensional monster, I think it underscored the points of the project more. And so, yeah, I think it's a challenge, but I think that that's a challenge that we have to undertake because there are bad people in the world, and we have to see that reflected in ourselves to try to, yes, empathize with them to an extent, because I think it's too easy to write things off and not address like the monster within society that maybe led that person to that. I don't know if that makes any sense at all, but yeah, it's definitely a challenge. I have not gotten to work yet on any world building for D&D, but I am hoping to do some of that next week. That's something that I'm going to be putting in some work on. Yeah, Becky, that's a really, really good example. So I've played, for example, I've played officers in the Nazi army. I've played, I've played characters like that that are awful, but like those are people that existed and exist. And being able to call that out through media is important. So yeah, it is hard. So I hope that answers. J'accuse. I've heard of it. I've never seen it. Oh, it's recent. Oh, maybe I will have to check that out. Oh, it's interesting that Roman Polanski would have made that, given the subject matter that it appears to be about. That's a whole other conversation, the separating art from artist, isn't it? But, I'm sure that there's something to learn from it. Masterful. I mean, there's probably some great acting in it. He usually gets that out. Would I be willing to take on a role that might go against my upbringing? Yeah, absolutely. I think, if I'm just doing projects about what I believe in, then how am I pushing myself to expand my own worldview? And I want to do art to expand people's worldviews and to expand their understanding of the world that's around them. And if I only do stuff that I agree with or that I'm comfortable with, then how am I supposed to do that? How can you grow from a place that only exists as a place of comfort for you? You can't. And so in my own theology as a person of faith, I constantly try to challenge it and push it. Even if I walk away going, no, my beliefs haven't actually changed, they've still been sharpened by being challenged and pushed up against. And I think that that's what's important. So I try to do that with my art too. It's, I've had to tell my parents before, like, yeah, you're not going to like this project that I was in. You're not going to like this movie. You may not like this play. And that's okay, because not everybody has to like things. And I don't make things for them to like. I don't make things that I think people will like. I hope that they do, but I make them because they spoke to me. Christina, thank you. The Robert Kennedy accent was hard to find because it's not quite JFK. He's a little bit different. He's a little bit more. He has a bit more speed to him and a bit more chopped up vocal approach, and certainly stuttered more and added a lot more to the whole thing. That was really fun. I want to show you, and I will answer your questions. Yes, Kenneth, I can play some piano. I can play some piano. I can play euphonium. I haven't played euphonium for a while, but I can still play it. Like I know a B flat scale still, just based off muscle memory. I'm learning to play the drum set right now because I'm playing the drum set in a movie next month. So I'm taking drum set lessons. I have another 2 weeks to learn how to play the drum set. And I think that's all I played the trumpet, certainly not at a professional level. I don't play any of those instruments at a professional level. I only sing at a hopefully professional level. Anna, welcome. Oh, Ball, welcome. Thank you for being here, and thank you for celebrating with us briefly. Here, I want to show you, especially Christina, because you asked, but about the Robert Kennedy thing. I don't know if I've ever shown these on a live before, but A few things that I was able to keep actually were we had these Robert Kennedy for President pins, and I was allowed to keep one from when we were doing it. We were giving it out to audience members as they came in. And then these are some of my favorite things that I got to keep from that production. So my uncle and my dad co-conspired to come up with, they found in 1968, which is when the play followed Robert Kennedy's run for the presidency. So we found a 50-cent piece from 1968 with JFK's face on it. And so, of course, Robert was dealing with the legacy of his brother. And so even though I never took this out during the play, I had it in my suit jacket. And I could literally, I felt the weight of JFK on my chest, on my heart, as I was playing the role. And so that was pretty cool. And then I've got this Kennedy 1960 tie clip, which Robert wore everywhere. If you look up any clips of Robert running for president, he probably had this tie clip on if he was wearing a tie. I wish my camera would focus on it. But it says Kennedy 60, and it's got the battleship carrier that he was on. And then I've got this watch that the director of Kennedy gave me as, you know, just a nice piece. But it was constantly like, it was constantly something I could fidget with, which like could underplay the nervousness and also the idea of Robert's time ticking down because he was unfortunately assassinated. So this idea of me being able to constantly adjust and worry about like, you know, this idea of time closing in on him as this does stretch and literally closes in on me was really, really cool. So those are some fun things that I got to keep from that whole thing. Oh my God, Chris. Thank you. Wow. Thank you for that. That means so much to me. Thank you. You said don't forget who I assume who I am. No, that's not something I can ever do, and it's something that I'm constantly trying to evaluate because I know I've said this before, but once we figure out who we are, that knowledge kind of changes us, and we're constantly changing. And I want to be in a place of change because I don't want to get comfortable with who I am. But thank you so very much. That's incredibly kind of you. Thank you so much for that. Wow. Words just left my head. Doysters, yeah, I guess I don't eat a lot of meat anymore. I've kind of gone mostly vegetarian just for health because I have to stay in shape. It's just the parts that I tend to be up for mean I have to stay in shape. Kenneth, no, I don't play the guitar. I should. I have no excuse. It's something that I want to learn and should learn because there's a lot of roles that I'd like to play. I'd like to be Orpheus in Hades Town. I'd like to do the musical once. I need to learn to play the guitar. But food I'm not allowed to eat? No, not necessarily. I did make bacon yesterday for the first time in a long time. I've cooked with meat 3 times since June. So I do eat meat when I go out to eat. But no, nothing I'm not allowed to eat. When I'm doing shows, I am careful about what I eat before I go on stage because like with Kennedy, it was a 90-minute monologue where I never left stage. So I had to kind of pace myself, not eat anything too heavy that would hit me and make me tired during the show, but enough that I wouldn't get hungry during the show. So it's all about balance. Craig Trance, nope, nobody's asked me yet. I'm not that good yet. I know one song. Lissa, thank you for being here. Thank you. Sorry I didn't get to, you're probably gone by now, but thank you. Martinkus, yes, they are wonderful memories of a wonderful show and a great theater in Hannibal, Missouri, and I hope I get to work with them again soon. Antonea, yes, I think it's important, and I really do try to separate that because I think art has value beyond the creator. Like even with who he's revealed himself to be, Kevin Spacey is still like a good actor who I can learn from his technique. I can also learn from who he is as a person and what not to do, but I already knew not to do those things. So yeah, like Polanski's good with a camera. Woody Allen's good with a camera. Like those are things we can still learn from. And yeah, I think everybody has to make a personal decision on how to separate art from artist and how to approach that. And, you know, I think it's okay if somebody can't and somebody else can. People are nuanced and that's okay. Well, Chris, thank you. I pray that I continue to be kind, and I hope that I have people around me that reinforce that and that remind me how important that is to my life to be. So, and I'm glad that those people know to course correct me as well. Fuino Ching Sung, yes, that is. I don't. So here's my thing with Martin Scorsese saying that. I think that the quote is out of context, and I don't think he's saying that. I think Martin Scorsese, and I don't blame you for saying that because it was intentionally quoted to drive clicks to that website, and they did him a disservice. Martin Scorsese is the greatest champion for cinema that our industry has ever had, and I mean that. Guillermo del Toro just said yesterday, if Guillermo del Toro had to die young to extend Martin Scorsese's life, he would. Martin Scorsese has done more to expand cinema than anyone. He's not saying Marvel aren't necessary or even good. He's just saying they're amusement park rides. And that's what I was trying to get at earlier with how do we compare the technological achievements of a film like Amelie versus Avengers Infinity War. How do we compare, for example, The Rhythm of War, how many pages is this? 1,200-page fantasy novel to F. Scott Fitzgerald's This Side of Paradise, or to the short stories of Edgar Allan Poe. How do we compare that to George R. R. Martin's A Clash of Kings? Like, how do we draw that line? And so I think that's what Martin Scorsese is saying is the Avengers films are wonderful. I love them. I see them in theaters. But I also love Nomadland. And I also love 1917. And like there's movies in cinema like that. I think the distinction is Martin Scorsese makes pictures and the Avengers films are movies. And that doesn't mean that they're bad. Like people work really hard on them and the lighting is usually quite good and the acting is very good and the writing is excellent and the VFX are incredible. They're made for different purposes and with different intentions. And I think that that's the important distinction to draw. Are they saying something? Are they there to entertain? All of those things can be true. Marvel has some really important subtextual discussions through that. So I don't know if that answers that. I don't know. Oh gosh, hi Sarah. That's my wife who's popping into the chat. Hi Sarah. She's somewhere in this apartment right now, I assume. Kenneth, vocal warm up. I have some vocal coaches that I actually just look up their YouTube videos, tenor, baritone warm up, whatever part I'm playing, whatever that range is. And I just kind of do their 20-minute warm up with them. It's easier because I'm not very good at piano. And also because I know that they're good and they work for me. So, Chris, thank you again. That's so utterly kind of you. Joyce, I do have an agent. I also find work on my own. I'm working on securing a manager. Right now I'm talking with some companies and trying to figure out what the best path forward for me is. But yeah, it's a mix of both. And just, trying to continue to build a career. Well, Doisters, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your excellent and thought-provoking questions. I really appreciate that. So thank you. How can you compare one brick in the mosaic to another? That's exactly. They all have just incredible artistic value. They're just different values. You know what I mean? Like we'd be talking about the same thing with BTS being music in the same way that Beethoven is music. They both push boundaries. They're both incredible. But how do you compare the two? That's what's so difficult about it. So I think that I hope that answers your question. I know it's kind of a non-answer, but that's my legitimate opinion is they all have value. Like B/slasher campy horror films have value too. The Princess Bride is a totally campy movie and it's one of the few perfect movies ever made. So The Princess Bride versus Martin Scorsese's Taxi Driver versus like I referenced Leon the Professional, which I just watched, versus Girl, versus Nomadland, versus like Everything Everywhere All at Once, versus Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. Two A24 films, completely different. And so that's what I really, really like. Hi, Clara. Welcome. Welcome back to Romania. Um, so, Antonio, which actor or actress would I like to act with, or who do I like to emulate? So I'll answer that with one answer: Ewan McGregor. He's my favorite actor. Star Wars Episode 3: Revenge of the Sith was the first movie I ever saw in theaters, and I just like Ewan McGregor's performance, and it just blew me away as a kid. I was crying in the movie theater, and so I tried to watch all of his movies, and it's something I'm still underway on. But he gives so much to each performance, between Big Fish and between let's see, The Impossible, which is an incredible film, and August Osage County, and Kenobi, and Birds of Prey. Like I love how unconventional he is with all of his performances. Trainspotting, Moulin Rouge, one of my favorite movies. So I try to learn from him so much. But gosh, the list of actors I want to work with is as long as the list of actors that exist. There's so very many. Is Werewolf by Night out yet? Am I thinking of the wrong movie? TV special. Oh, it came out. Oh, I will have to watch that. I'll have to watch that. Gail Garcia Bernal, he's great. Oh, that's exciting. Oh, well, thank you for that update. Maybe I'll watch that today. Nita, hello. Thank you for being here. Working on an academic paper in the middle of the night. May the coffee be in your favor. I'm about to go have some here. So I hope that my voice helps keep you awake and focused as you get that done. Portia, my goodness gracious, I would love to go to a Dimash concert. I'd love to direct something for him. I'd love to act in something with him. He is an incredible artist, using his voice for so much good in the world, and he defies reality in so many incredible ways. Maria, thank you. I like what you say, a sensitive person. I am blanking on who said it. Someone very important once said that actors need to inhabit the historical concept of humor, not just like funniness, but of this sort of you have to be able to empathize, and I hope that is something that works for me. Yes, Toysters, Sarah is in Kadia. That's true. She makes a little cameo, and she did all the hair and makeup. Her father also has a cameo in Kadia, so you can see Jeff in Kadia. He's the teacher. You'll see him steal a foam finger. So that's good. Okay, watching in a dark room. I'll have to check that out. So yes, Fuino, I hope that does help, because Scorsese, I'm trying to do a watch through of all of his films, and like Silence is such an incredible film, and having to compare that even to something I love, Star Wars. I've seen every Star Wars movie so many times. I love Star Wars. You cannot compare Star Wars to Silence. Like, they're just different films, both phenomenal. So, shameless plug, if you've ever seen Once Were Warriors or Whale Rider, check them out. Oh, that's exciting. I will have to. I'll look those up right now. Once. Tamura Morrison. I'm in. Tamura Morrison's in it. That's all I need to hear. Well, thank you again, Chris. That is so completely kind of you. I don't ever want to be in a movie again. Yes, Sarah did hair and makeup for that. She also did the makeup design for a short film that I did, and then another one that we made during the pandemic. So she's putting the work in. She worked as a grip gaff on that one too. That was all of our neighbors. We just made a movie in the apartment building we were in during COVID, during the lockdown. Alejandra, yes, I am a full-blown proud nerd. We just fully embrace it. Gosh, I can't even imagine going to a Dimash concert. I would just be crying the whole time. Tamura is just, again, my childhood being Star Wars. I just love him. His voice gives me chills every time. I thought he was great in Book of Boba Fett. Boba Fett's a tough role because he doesn't really have a ton of development just as a character. So really inspired by him, and such a cool performer. I didn't know you were in a movie, Crave Trance. I didn't know that. Why didn't you tell me that? Kenneth Cruz, who inspired me to sing? That is a story. So, yeah, get ready for this. I grew up, we didn't have cable. We only had, I think, 6 or 7 channels. We had one of them was PBS, and then we had a lot of DVD box sets of older television shows. So I grew up watching Andy Griffith, I Love Lucy, Red Skelton, like that era of television. One of my favorite shows was Gomer Pyle USMC. I also grew up listening to a lot of the Oak Ridge Boys, so like Elvira. Like I grew up a lot on that older country song or country music. But Jim Neighbors had an episode where there was like a marine talent show of sorts, and I thought, oh, this is gonna be funny because he's Gomer Pyle, so he's gonna be goofy, ha ha ha. And then he walked out and started singing The Impossible Dream, and he went, to dream the impossible dream, in this beautiful voice. And it was the first time I ever became consciously aware of what acting was. And so I learned to sing by singing along with him doing that song. That's where I learned vibrato, was from him singing that song. So that was the first musical theater song I ever learned, was The Impossible Dream, because of Jim Neighbors. So who knew that a half a century later, he would be inspiring, a young kid in Ohio to become a singer. And so that's my story. I was blown away by that. And that era of musicals, definitely watched The Fiddler on the Roof and The Sound of Music as a kid. Kind of that age of musicals. Like my parents wanted us to see those things and be exposed to that and learning from it. Portia, I am 28 as of last month, but I'm a young 28, but also an old 28. An old soul. But, that classic golden age of musicals really spoke to me. Learning You'll Never Walk Alone from Carousel, which my grandma asked me to learn so I could sing to her, which is why that song means so much to me. Yes, Portia, I'm the same age as Dimash. Clearly, we're the same level of natural talent. Right? Right? Dimash is a phenom. Yeah, sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, he's also 28, and that's like wild to consider. But I like to think we're both having success in our chosen fields, and he is extraordinary. Certainly that's the case. I'm older than my age. Yeah, sometimes people are surprised that I'm 28 because they think that I'm younger, and then sometimes people think that I'm a lot older, and I don't know how to take that. But yes, I do think I have something of an old soul, and certainly had parents that pushed us to read a lot as kids and go outside and play. And I think that kind of taught us we didn't have phones from a young age. We didn't have a lot of video game consoles. So we still play a lot of board games. I'm very proud of my board game collection. Oh, Kenneth, well, thank you for being here. I hope you have a wonderful night, and thanks for staying up late to hang out. Fuyono, stage adaptation of The Greatest Showman. I would love that. I have a cover coming out soon. I hope a duet with somebody that we're kind of working out how to get that done, but from The Greatest Showman. And I just sang for an audition. I just did the what's that song called? Da, 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 always be what's true. When I stop and remember who that was for. What's that called? From now on. That's it. From now on, these eyes will not be blinded by the light. I know that's a higher key, but yeah, that would be a fun show to do. Yeah, what's the opening number? Ladies and gents, this is the moment you waited for. The music from that movie is so good. So tell me, do you want to go? That would be fun, 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 fun. Bye, Sarah. I'll see you after the live. Karaoke go-to song. I mean, is it happy karaoke? Because if it's like a melancholy place, I'll sing Mad World. But not if it's happy-go-lucky. Then it's probably like Don't Stop Believing, because I can belt it and it's fun. Clara, my favorite movie, and if it's Clara, I'm sorry. Favorite movie is probably Everything Everywhere All at Once. That changed this year. It was Moulin Rouge. The best movie, I think, is probably Everything Everywhere All at Once, but Shawshank Redemption is certainly in the running for that as well. So those are kind of Everything Everywhere All at Once was just a movie that really changed the way that I view film. Favorite song is probably Only the Beginning of the Adventure from the Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. It's a song that when I was in high school, I was dealing with a lot of mental health stuff. And sometimes I couldn't sleep or I would have nightmares. And it's just a song to me that speaks this sort of innocent, and this was also happening in college. And it's a song that really, I guess, captures my mind and my, like the joy in my soul and kind of speaks to that. And as a kid, I really dreamed of going to Narnia. And so I guess I associated with that as well. And this sense of just being in a place that is wild and untamed and full of love. And so I guess that's why that song just speaks to me so much. I think it's a beautiful song. So if you want to go listen to it, Only the Beginning of the Adventure by the Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And a warm-up exercise that I do as an actor always, and I remember Crave Trance actually saw me doing this in the theater a few times before Sunset Boulevard. I put in headphones and I listen to a song from a movie. It can be any song from any movie, but I close my eyes and I have to just accept whatever the image that appears is. So if the first thing I see is a forest, then okay, I'm in a forest. Okay, I'm in a cave. Okay, I'm in a museum. And I just explore it without saying no to anything. I see two doors. I just pick one to go through and I go through that door and I let the music kind of guide my imagination, but it lets me exist in two places at once, sitting in the theater or on the set with music playing and things moving around me, but also being in whatever that world of my mind is. And that's what acting is existing in those two places at once. Well, Joyce, thank you. Thank you so much. That's really, really kind of you. It really is. Anganda, of course I love Sutton Foster. Her voice is incredible. I listen to her sing the phone book. I'd love it. Yes, Fuyono, I've seen it. I actually had a friend that was in the ensemble for Greatest Showman and talked about doing that. So, and what was cool to me is that Jeremy Jordan was also in that. Like Jeremy Jordan is like Jeremy Jordan. Like this. Jeremy Jordan and Aaron Tveit have had a huge impact on my voice as a contemporary tenor musical theater vocalist. So that's certainly true. And on that note, I do have to get going because I have that audition coming up soon and I need to get some coffee and tea and water in me. Barbara, hi, welcome. I was just wrapping up. I'm sorry. So I just made it in at the end. Yes, Fuyono, I know Jeremy Jordan was supposed to sing the lead, and I would have loved to have heard him sing it because he is real good. So I do have to hop off here, but thank you so much for hanging out, all of you. And again, Chris, thank you for that incredible gift. And thank you all for hanging out and for being here and spending some Saturday with me. And to those of you who are working on things while you're watching this, you got this. I believe in you. Everybody else, thank you so much. And I'll see you soon. I'll have more videos out next week. I'm hoping to get some videos shot this weekend before I leave town for a week and a half or so. But you guys know how it goes. I'll get videos out when I can. And thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here. Have great days. Drink lots of water. Get lots of sleep. Fix your postures. And yes?
Nothing.
The other reason I have to go is because I was supposed to make lunch and Sarah is now hungry.
I'm hungry.
She's hungry. So oh, my camera went out. That was weird. I'm fuzzy. That's the camera telling me to leave. So thank you all so much for being here and I'll see you next time. But until then, be well. Clara says bye.
Bye.
There it is. Bye.